Hey everybody, welcome back to Around the Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today, I am honored to be joined by the incredible Gabi Kool. Hi, Gabi.
Hello, Sarah.
Nice to have you on the show today. So, I invited Gabi to be on the show because he is CEO of Loylogic, a company which focuses mainly on leadership and rewards and loyalty commerce. So, all incentives, all reward schemes. I know that you guys haven't heard of this one before. Please, Gabi, tell me your story and what got you started.
Sure. My pleasure. Yeah, so look, everybody kind of has always a certain opinion about loyalty programs because almost everybody is a member of it as well, right? So, my company, a company called Loylogic, where I'm the CEO, we support a lot of airlines and banks and fast-moving consumer good programs with their loyalty programs so that people can exchange their miles or their points for something that is meaningful and exciting. So I've been in this space for about almost 30 years. I'm a Dutch national. I started in my very first job was at KLM, the Dutch airline. I had a super fun job title at the time. I was manager Flying Dutchman because the program was called Flying Dutchman. So it was my very
I love
first
that.
job title. That didn't get much better after that, I have to say. It was like a very cool one to start with. And ever since, I've always been operating in loyalty. So I worked on the airline side, then moved to Singapore and Shanghai, where I ran a loyalty business. Moved to Barcelona and London, then to Riga, Latvia for 8 years, then to Italy, then to Switzerland, and now I'm based here in lovely Dubai. So plenty of places, but always in loyalty. And the funny thing with loyalty is that kind of didn't matter. It didn't matter where I lived. Didn't matter if we were dealing with Chinese consumers or Emirati consumers or Dutch consumers or Brazilians. Loyalty is a universal concept, and so a lot of truths are basically in there on like how people like to be recognized and basically be kind of seen by a brand and feel part of a tribe. And so I operate in that kind of space. So loyalty is my let's say my working life passion that I can talk hours about and love it. And then my other big passion in life is sports. I'm also on a volunteer basis. I'm the president of an international sports federation, which is recognized by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. So my sport's called korfball. It's the oldest mixed gender team sport in the world. So it's a little bit like netball meets basketball, but then there's four men, four women in one team, about 120 years old. So that's my weekends and my evening hours. So yeah, sport and loyalty can wake me up any time of the day for discussions around that.
I love that. And the fact that you are managing so two completely diverse kind of passions and work schedules at the same time, there are two things you have such strong kind of love and admiration for. What kind of challenges come in this journey of being, a CEO, like the chief of a company, as well as balancing your kind of your passions on the side?
Yeah, look, if we look at the loyalty kind of domain, like running and being involved in a lot of these very well-known loyalty programs. So we support the likes of, let's say, Etihad Airways, we run their reward shop, or like Nescafe Dolce Gusto, where we run these kind of
Wow.
shops for them, or yeah, like Japan Airlines or big banks in the Middle East, but also in Africa and Switzerland. The biggest challenge that you find sometimes with these with any company running a loyalty program is that you need to be able to prove the impact that it has on the bottom line of a particular company. So the notion of rewarding your best customers and being, yeah, basically being a great kind of partner for your for your best customers, everybody can buy into that concept. But of course, in the end, there's always a boardroom that says, okay, so now how much did we really get out of this investment? So I think one of the things that we have seen over the years and where we've had to help a lot of our clients is how do you articulate that value that you create? How do you measure that in a way that kind of also the CFO will drop his or her skeptical view maybe on like another marketing investment in there. And so how we are overcoming that is that we build models and we work with all kind of partners in that space that measures on an individual basis for every member in a loyalty program what their contribution is to a particular kind of program. So
So
we've
it's
we've
tailored
bundled
to
that
each
into
person.
exactly tailor each person, and then basically can you put metrics around it and you package that nicely in a boardroom document and term what the shareholders can get their head around. So I think the biggest challenge always in our space has been how do you move it from a cost center in a large kind of organization to a value creation engine and also being seen for that. So that's what a lot of our clients needed help with, and that we supported them with.
What would you say is kind of a key milestone in your journey where you felt kind of inspired or it was like a really important kind of phase in your life?
So look, I've operated both on like supporting these kind of programs from, let's say, on the supplier kind of side, which is what we're doing in Loylogic, and I've also been on the other side of running these programs as CEO or sometimes as shareholder of these kind of programs. And so probably the um, the biggest impact or like moment kind of in there, like coming from one particular country and growing up in a particular country, you've got a certain view of the world, a certain view of like how you should run these kind of things. By the time I got to country 3 or 4 or 5, basically I realized, okay, this is kind of there are universal truths in here, and I can basically help not just one particular kind of vertical like a airlines or banks, so but it applies to many kind of programs. So I think that kind of insight came along the way. I also discovered that I really enjoy working with as many cultures I can basically get around me in my team, in my clients that I work with. It's so much fun. Probably no surprise that I ended up also in Dubai in that sense. Kind of
Yeah.
cannot find a more fun city to live and work in that regard. So probably that's kind of a bit of the evolution along the way.
And what would you say is your favorite thing about what you do?
So the favorite thing, like in my role as CEO of Loylogic, is that I have the benefit of dealing with, well, VPs of marketing or C-level executives of many different industries, so it's intellectually super interesting. One day you're dealing with a client who, well, let's say is dealing with selling the largest diaper brand in the world. So you deal with like young families, DNAs in that program. Now, how do you build a loyalty proposition that really resonates with that particular community? And you try to A, understand quickly that business, B, how kind of you can create value propositions around it. And then the next day you sit with the CMO of an airline, the next day with a CMO of a bank. And so intellectually, it's a very interesting field where A, you need to try to understand these kind of industries. You need to understand the psychology of the consumers that they're dealing with. Then there's technology involved because we run these global rewards marketplaces where people can get anything that their heart basically can dream of like in a loyalty program. But then the challenge is also how do you avoid kind of throwing the kitchen sink at such a loyalty program member base? Like you don't want to drown them in like a million different products to choose from. You want to help curate in a
Hmm.
thoughtful manner for that particular community with their DNA, what would be meaningful and interesting rewards that will resonate with them. So I can give you an example. We got a super great client in South Africa, a bank called African Bank. And unlike with frequent flyer programs who tend to deal more with affluent consumers, this is a bank that deals with lower income segments of the South African kind of society.
Hmm,
And so that
interesting.
community has got very different needs and desires and for what they would consider a meaningful reward in their loyalty program. So what that bank has done, it doesn't reward just kind of earn more points if you swipe your credit card or these kind of things. They also reward their members for improving the credit score because they know that if you have a better credit score, you've got more access to
Ah.
loans and like so they reward financial responsible behavior by their members. But then when these people have the points, they also that kind of consumer base is much more utility driven, where they would like to use their points for fuel or for mobile phone top-ups or for utility bills or like so it's not so much about kind of another iPhone or like a priority lane access at an airport. So what I find fun is that you try to understand as quickly as you can and as well as you can with the information you have the DNA of a particular community, and then think about now how can we help through the loyalty program create like or have an impact on the behaviors of that community through giving positive incentives and rewards. And so that's kind of a bit where our field plays. So there's technology, there's psychology, there's what kind of rewards will resonate. We run a marketplace that we ship every year to about 180 different countries worldwide, these kind of rewards.
Wow.
So it's fun.
Well, thank you so much for taking us through such a colorful and detailed experience in different countries and helping us understand as well the importance of understanding the cultures themselves. It's not just about having customers and doing what the customers need, but it's also understanding their backgrounds, their history, where they come from, and being able to tailor your full company product not just on the country, but on the person itself. I think it's so important. The way that you connect with people so easily is so important.
Yeah, correct. Like we always like to give the analogy of you don't want to be a lazy friend. We call it the lazy friend example. Let's imagine that you and I have known each other and you come to my well, let's round it down. Let's say you come down to my 50th birthday to be kind to myself, and then basically say, "Hello, Gabi, I've known you for such a long time, and I was thinking, what can I get you? What can I get you?" And to really symbolize that we've been great friends for a long time, and then you get an Amazon gift card, and basically kind of it shows like kind of the lazy friend analogy is kind of you want, of course, it's there's value in that part, but you want to show like through a gift that you truly understand somebody and that you basically kind of and so we see that same responsibility when we deal with the best customers of a particular client that we deal with. How can you avoid being seen as that lazy friend of that particular kind of brand? Because maybe you've been 20 years loyal customer for that whatever shop or brand it is, right? And you, how can you reflect that kind of yeah, that value that you see in your customers in a way that kind of touches their heart and puts a little smile on their face when they think about the gift that you as a brand gave to them.
I love that. And that is actually a very beautiful segue into my final question for you today, Gabby. Aside from the lazy friend analogy, is there any kind of final word of advice you want to give to listeners today?
Well, look, we live in a beautiful place kind of here. We got like most of your listeners probably got also kind of exciting kind of jobs in there. And probably what I've discovered over the years and probably many of your listeners as well, like life is short. We need to have kind of we need to work super hard. We need to have fun. Surround yourself with great people, clients you try to serve, or what kind of clients you can work with. There's plenty of choice kind of out there in the end, right? Basically, the universe works in mysterious ways and in that sense. So make sure you surround yourself with great people, work hard, have kind of fun in there, and then yeah, be very mindful of the reputation that you build for yourself because it comes around usually and kind of so be a great friend, great partner for everybody that you work with. So yeah, maybe I that would be my advice.
Thank you so much for your time, Gabby, today. I'm honestly very touched by your words. I think everyone's very inspired by what you have to say, and definitely going to be looking forward to hearing more from Loylogic very soon, hopefully.
Thanks for having me, Sarah. Much appreciated.